Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian here at the Excel Center in London, where we're covering the DSEI trade show, one of the world's leading exhibitions of air, land, sea, security, and cyber systems. Our coverage here is in partnership with DSEI and Clarion Events, and we're positively honored to have with us Sir Michael Fallon, Secretary of State for Defense, Member of Parliament from Sevenoaks in Kent. Sir, thanks very much for spending some time with us. The big question on everybody's mind is the budget hole, 30 billion as some have projected it. SDSR 15 was designed to fix the ills of SDSR 2010, put you on a year-on-year growth path. Talk to us about the trade-offs and the challenges ahead that will have to be made. A lot of the service chiefs have talked about tough decisions. You've said important priorities and choices will have to be made in this. As somebody who's sitting in the cabinet office that will make these decisions, how are you going to prioritize them? What are the capabilities that you're going to go to bat for, and where do you think you can take a little bit more risk as you try to plug what some project to be 30 billion, which would be a big number depending on how you look at it?
Well, I don't recognize your number or your description of the whole. The defense budget is growing. It's growing in real terms. It's growing ahead of inflation, and we have guaranteed that. We enshrined it in our manifesto, and it will be growing every year of this 5-year parliament. So we've got a growing defense budget. It's true that the investment in new equipment over the next 10 years also depends on the release of efficiency savings, and that we do have to make choices about land and buildings that we no longer need, that we have to find more efficient ways of working like any large organization, and that we have to keep modernizing. Defense is always a matter of prioritization, but this is a growing budget giving our armed forces the new equipment that they need. And you've seen over the last year or so major decisions, investing in a fleet of new nuclear ballistic submarines, investing in new frigates, purchasing maritime patrol aircraft and Apache attack helicopters, and purchasing new armoured vehicles for the Army. So we are growing the defence budget, buying new equipment, but yes, the armed forces have to make choices and have to be continually searching for more efficiency.
How do you respond to those people who say that there is a hollow force developing, that the services had to cut people, have cut training and spares in order to afford the high-end capability, the high-end kit, but now we'll see some of that high-end kit slip in the course of this review? There is a lot of discussion about whether, how you're going to manage to put 5 pounds of stuff in a 2-pound bag, perhaps. How do you respond to those people who say that the British military is hollowing out in terms of its core capabilities?
Well, I don't accept that. We agreed in the Defence Review 2 years ago to expand the numbers in the Royal Navy, to expand the numbers in the Royal Air Force, and we have said we want to maintain the overall size of the armed forces. Now, the three services and Joint Forces Command, they have to make their choices. They have to decide exactly how much to spend on training, as you said, on their people, as well as on the new kit. Defence has always been about making choices, establishing priorities. That's not new.
You've been the most passionate spokesman. It was a tremendous speech you gave on Monday at the start of the conference. Is there a concern, will these cuts, when they happen, or adjustments or anything else, however else you want to put it, do you think that will undermine British credibility at all, given that you've been such a passionate voice for Britain and the world? The capabilities are going to deliver the 2%, pressuring NATO countries to do so. Are you guys going to stay above that 2% GDP mark, do you think?
We've not only committed to staying at the 2% mark, but we've committed to increasing our budget ahead of inflation by 0.5% ahead of inflation. So you have a double lock, double reassurance that we will continue to grow defence spending. So let me reject this talk of cuts. The overall budget is increasing. Yes, the demands are increasing as well. Yes, we need to invest in fairly expensive new equipment. New ships and planes don't come cheap. But overall, the budget is growing, and it will go on growing each year of this Parliament.
But the concern is that the things in it are expanding in cost. Type 26 price went up. There's a concern that successor costs are going up also. How concerned are you on the internal pressures on your budget, that even though the top line goes off, the U.S. is struggling with this? I know you used to speak to Ash Carter about this, as well as to Secretary Mattis. How can you control that internal cost growth? to keep it from squeezing everything else out?
We've established much tougher controls now on some of these major programs. The contract we've signed for the anti-submarine frigates, the Type 26 global combat ships, includes very stiff penalties for BAE Systems, who are building these frigates on the Clyde, and also incentives to make sure that they're brought in on time and within budget. With our nuclear ballistic submarines, we're setting up a new delivery authority to keep that program on schedule and within the budget. We've set aside some contingency as well. And for the Type 31 lighter frigate, for the first time in the history of defence procurement, we fixed the price from the start.
Right.
And the competition is based on companies meeting that price and not exceeding it.